Assalamu alaikum students. Today once again I am before you and I'll be discussing a very important topic of grammar, that is transitive and intransitive verb. And you are already known of different parts of speech, that what is a noun, what is a verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, interjection, etc. You know it. But while talking about a verb that plays a vital role everywhere, because a sentence cannot be without a verb. Let me tell you first what verb is. What do you mean by verb? A verb is a word that tells us about a noun. What a noun is, what a noun does, and what a noun has. Once again I'll repeat it. It tells us about a noun, about a person or a thing. When I talk about noun, that means a person, thing, animal, anything, tree, whatever it is, thing. It tells us about a noun, what a noun is, what it has, and what it does. For example, I'll say, I write. I write. Here, I is subject and write is verb. This is a pen. So in this sentence, there is a verb. Because I've already told you there is no sentence without a verb. That is. Sometimes these auxiliary verbs play the role of main verbs. So when you find not a main verb in a sentence, there you find definitely an auxiliary in it. So verbs, first of all, let me tell you, a verb is a word that tells us about a noun, what a noun is, what a noun has, and what it does. So when I talk about noun, it means a person, place, animal, thing, anything. Now when I talk about a verb, there are two main kinds of verbs. That is, first, that is auxiliary verbs and main verbs. Auxiliary verbs and main verbs. I'll write here. First, main verbs, then auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs. When I talk about main verbs, there are two kinds of main verbs that I am going to discuss today. That's very important. That is transitive verb, transitive verbs or transitive verb, and intransitive verb. So main verb, a transitive verb, and an intransitive verb. And now you will be thinking about those verbs that we come in simple, complex, compound type of sentences. That is finite and non-finite. Those are from these verbs. So first main verbs are these transitive and intransitive verbs. When I talk about auxiliaries, primary auxiliaries, and there are modal auxiliaries. When I talk about primary auxiliaries, three kinds. Do, then we sometimes use does with third person singular, and it is past, did. Then there is have form, have, has, and had, past, that we use generally in present perfect and past perfect. And then the third one is be form. In this be form, we use is, am, are, was, were. There are 7 forms of this, including be, that is 8, been, and being. Why do I write this? Because we sometimes write only main verbs in a sentence, and sometimes we use these auxiliaries. These play the role of main verbs. Then I talk about auxiliaries. These are will, shall, should, would, can, could, may, might, ought to, used to, have to, dare. These are 14 and these are 14 in number. Just remember it. But today I am going to discuss about a transitive verb and an intransitive verb. So what does a transitive verb mean? What does transitive mean? Transitive means passing over. The word meaning passing over. Then intransitive means not passing over. So what passes? Generally we write an action. Some say that this is an action word. Yes, but not always. Sometimes the verb is, for example, this is a pen. So there is no action. Verb is there. So there is possession. Something that, possession that we have. He has a pen. There is has. Has, there is a possession. Okay? And when I say that what a person is, for example, he is a teacher. So verb says what he is. He is teaching poetry. He is teaching. It means what does he do? He is teaching. What is he teaching? He is teaching. So here teaching is the main verb. It helps the verb to be in present continuous form. Or he teaches. So teach here is the main verb. So is, that is auxiliary verb, helping verb, and teaches, that means the main verb. Okay? So if I say he teaches us English, see the sentence now. So a transitive verb is that wherein the action passes from subject to object. I will write here first. Let us know what is a subject and what is object. For example, I write here, Mr. Wo teaches us English. Let me write here, Wo teaches us English. Here it is subject, teaches us here English. Here it is predicate. And generally we find an object in predicate. And sometimes there is only one word, that is predicate. Or we can say that is object. Predicate means the rest of the sentence, wherein we find verb and sometimes object. And that's what I am going to tell you today, that what is a transitive verb and what is an intransitive verb. When we talk about verbs are transitive as well as intransitive. It means that sometimes the action passes from subject to object, sometimes the action does not pass. When action passes from subject to object, it means the verb is transitive. When the action stops with the doer and does not pass from subject to object, it means the verb that is used in that sentence, that is intransitive. I'll write a sentence first. Once again, subject means the doer who is doing any work, and object means on which the action is to be done. This is the difference between subject and object. Here, I write here, Abid opens. It is for your understanding whether you understand it or not. If I put a full stop here, it means that it does not give us a complete sense. The action stops, no doubt, here. But it needs something more. The sentence, this verb does not give us a complete sense here. It stops it, no doubt, here, but without, it needs something more, what I say. So when a verb needs something more to complete its meaning, the verb is transitive. Opens, I'll write here, opens word, he opens. What? We do not know what. He opens the door. When I say he opens the door, he opens the door. I have written here, Abid opens the door. Now, this action passes from subject to object. Abid is subject. This is transitive verb. This is object. Why so? Because action passes from subject to object. And a transitive verb is that when the action passes from subject to object, it needs an object to complete its sense. Here, if I do not write the door, I write only the openness. For example, I can write here, the child laughs, L-A-U-G-H-S. I have written a sentence here. The child is here subject and laughs here is verb. It gives us a complete sense here. The child laughs. Do you understand what I say? Here is only subject and verb, and it gives us a complete sense, complete meaning. It does not need any object to complete its meaning. Do you understand? So the verb is used here as intransitive. So an intransitive verb is that where the action does not pass from subject to object but stops with the doer. So here the verb laughs. It is verb. It is intransitive because it does not need any object, anything to complete its sense. So it means that we can use a verb both as a transitive and as an intransitive. Some verbs are those which are used as transitive as well as intransitive. And when there is no object, it gives complete sense. The verb is called as intransitive. When there you do not find any object, but verb is there, but it does not give us a complete sense. It needs some object to complete its sense. So we must know, we must understand that the verb is transitive because it needs an object to complete its sense. I'll write some more sentence. For example, no doubt there is we can find direct and indirect object. Sometimes there are two objects. Here I have written here, Mr. Waugh teaches, a teacher here teaches us English. Here it is verb, here it is object, here it is object. Two objects are here in this sentence. Mr. Waugh, sometimes you find two objects in a sentence and a verb. So there, direct object and indirect. If I say Mr. Waugh teaches English, only Mr. Waugh teaches English. So English is here object and the action passes from Mr. Waugh to English. So the verb is transitive, teaches. When I say Mr. Waugh teaches us English, you say there are two objects. So this is the direct object because it has directly to do something with this. This is called as direct object and this is called as indirect object. I'll give you some example where you say whether the verb has been used as transitive or an intransitive. For example, the child laughs. I have written here the child laughs. The verb is intransitive. If I say the child laughs at an old lady or at an old man, once again we have just added some object and it gives complete meaning. Now the action passes from subject to object. The verb is there transitive when you as object. It does not need any object. When a verb does not need any object, it means the verb is intransitive. When it needs an object to complete its sense, do you understand? Yes, the verb is transitive. Okay, the door opens. If I say the door opens, but who opens the door? We do not know. Or it needs something more. When it needs something more, it means that the verb is transitive. For example, she stopped the car at the gate. I'll write here a sentence like this. The car stopped at the gate. The car stopped at the gate. Here, stopped at the gate. Because sometimes we feel that perhaps the verb is transitive. But see here, because it does not need something more. The action here does not pass anything else. No. But it stops there with the doer. Because here it is intransitive verb. If I write the same sentence like this, she stopped the car at the gate. She stopped the car at the gate. Here it is stopped as transitive verb, and here it is as intransitive verb. Because if I just write, she stopped the car. She stopped the car. Once again, she stopped the car. Two things are here, two objects. She stopped the car at the gate. But if I say she stopped the car, once again, the car was stopped by him. Because this is that you check why I just passivized the sentence. When a verb is transitive and the action passes from subject to object, good. There only those sentences can be called as transitive verbs. And those sentences can only be passivized. And some, I'll give you some words, for example, go, come. These are intransitive verbs. These cannot be passivized. I go to school. We cannot say school is gone by me. No, incorrect. No doubt. Grammatically, you say that this is grammatically correct. No, we must think about synthesis of the sentence, meaning of the sentence. But we can use a word as a transitive verb and as an intransitive verb. The cup broke. What kind of sentence is it? What kind of verb is it in it? The cup broke. The cup, it is subject, broke. It is object or verb, both. There is no object, sorry. There is verb. The cup broke. Does it need any object to complete its sense? No. So what kind of verb it is? It is intransitive. Because in an intransitive verb, we do not need any object to complete its sense. Okay? We say, now, the child broke the cup. The child broke the cup. I'll write it here. The cup broke. See, the cup here is subject, broke. Here it is verb. But it does not need anything else to complete its meaning. Because this gives us a complete meaning. It does not, the verb does not need anything else to complete its meaning. So the verb is intransitive. Because I have already told you that an intransitive verb is that where the action does not pass from subject to object but stops with the doer. And in a transitive verb, I'll write here, the child broke the cup. The child is here subject, okay? Which is verb? Broke, very good. It is verb here. But can you tell me whether it is transitive verb or intransitive verb? Yes, transitive verb, correct. It is transitive verb. The cup, what is this? It is object. Very good, because you do not find, do you find some more object in it? Do you find? Is there? No. So it is direct object there, only one object. If we want to passivize it, the child broke the cup. The cup was broken by the child. So, see, here the action passes from child to the object. From child to the cup. So, once again I'll repeat it, so that you may remember it once again. And a transitive verb is that needs an object to complete its meaning. If there is no object and it does not give us a sense, it means that it is a transitive verb. It needs an object. For example, I say Abid opens. What? So we want something more. The door. Abid opens the door. So opens here is the transitive verb. If I say Bashir opened the book, opened the box. So once again the box, this object, and that is the subject. So when we want to find whether the verb has been used transitive or intransitive, so clear? When it needs an object to complete its sense, and it needs an object so that it can give the correct meaning, the verb is said to be as transitive. So transitive, here in transitive type of sentences or verbs, the action passes from subject to object. And in intransitive sentences, the action does not pass from subject to object. I'll give you some sentences now, some examples. Junaid gave me a pen. If I write this sentence here, let me rub it. I'll write some sentence and you will tell me whether the verb has been used as transitive and or an intransitive. If I write here, Junaid gave me a book or a pen. Here Junaid is subject, gave is verb, and a book, here it is object. I write here, Nuran walks. Nuran walks. Or Nuran reads. Here one is subject, Nuran is subject, and there is verb. Can you tell me what kind of verbs these are? Whether these are transitive or intransitive? Shabash. These are transitive or intransitive. Does it need anything else? It does not need. So when it does not need anything else, that is intransitive verb. Nuran reads. We do not know what she reads, but it still gives complete sense. It does not need anything. So it is an intransitive verb. If I write here now, Nuran reads a book or a poem. Once again this reads, because I have already told you, we can use a verb both transitive as well as intransitive. Here in this sentence, it does not need anything else. So it is intransitive, but in this sentence, Nuran reads a book. So this reads has been used both as a transitive verb and as an intransitive verb. So it is clear now that we can write two types of these verbs, main verbs, or bifurcate it in two parts, that is transitive verbs and intransitive. And only these transitive verbs are generally what? Passivized, one thing. And intransitive verbs are not passivized. When we talk about passivization, these we have to be very careful about the tenses. If I just write only one sentence, he reads a book, Abid reads a book, Nuran reads a book. So I have used the verb in present simple. So we use their different auxiliaries. How can we write? A book is read. Because we write the third form, mind it. Whenever we have to passivize a sentence, we always write third form of the verb. That means past participle form of the verb with the passivization. But the auxiliaries tell us whether the sentence has been used as a present indefinite, present continuous, present perfect, whatever the tense is, past perfect. If I just write here, Nuran reads a book. So here you see, here it is object. action passes from Nuran to book, so the verb has been used as this transitive. Now I'll give you some sentences, and I hope that you will be able to write these sentences either in this passivization. If you are not able to passivize the sentence, then you must think that perhaps the verb is intransitive, because intransitive verbs are not passivized, only the transitive verbs are passivized. So this is very simple, that what a transitive verb is and what an intransitive verb is. Thank you very much for your patience.